So what is this? Many of you will recognize it as a rear derailleur jockey wheel cage. So here's a rear derailleur and it has a jockey wheel cage on there. This one is fitted from the factory, as all derailleurs come with them. So what's the purpose of this one? It looks different than this one, doesn't it? So the idea is you can replace this factory fitted jockey wheel cage with this funny looking from outer space jockey wheel cage. But why would you want to do that? To see what's going on with this oversized pulley wheel system, let's go back a little bit in history, not too far back actually, to the jockey wheel. So this is the little jockey wheels you have on the derailleur. There's two of them, an upper and a lower, or a guide is the upper and a tension pulley is your lower. Well, years ago they used to be the same, and they all used to be this size. And if you count the number of teeth, there's 10 little teeth on the jockey wheel. The modern derailleur has about 11, usually at least 11. And the whole idea of having one or two more teeth on the jockey wheels is so that the chain doesn't articulate around so much of an angle, so it's a little bit smoother, and enables your gears to change a little bit quicker as well. If we have a look at our oversized pulley wheel system, we can see the top jockey wheel is the same. It's 11 tooth, but the bottom one is gigantic. It's a big 18 tooth. Yep, 18 teeth on that large jockey wheel. You can't see it from the front very well because it's hidden behind this inbuilt sort of fairing arrangement on the front of the jockey wheel cage there. And you can appreciate the size difference there. 10 tooth, 18 tooth. Fits in the middle of it. So it wasn't too long ago we had these little 10 tooth jockey wheels on our rear derailleurs, both the tension and the guide pulley, and we had no problems for years, for tens of thousands of kilometres, and it took a long time for these little plastic jockey wheels to wear out. So why would you suddenly go to a great big 18 tooth like this? Well, let's get our bicycle chain and our ordinary rear derailleur jockey cage, and we'll just thread a chain through. So this is your bottom part of your chain going to the bottom part of your front chainring, goes around there, and around your rear sprockets there, and returns to the front chainring, a bit like that arrangement. And have a look at the bend in the chain as it goes through the jockey wheels there, like S bends, and it's many different bends. And of course your chain's going around quite quickly, and each link is bending. It's going around here and then around here and then around your sprockets at the back, isn't it? Now there are already oversized pulley wheel systems on the market, like this one. This one has two large jockey wheels and they're both 17 tooth each, which is fair enough. However, when you think about it, the chain coming through has to bend around both of your jockey wheels, of course, and if they're both big, you get a big amount of bend through there. So it's all very well having one, but it's also going to bend further around to get around the upper jockey wheel as well. So wouldn't it be better to have a smaller one? So one big one to lessen the articulation and one smaller one so it doesn't have to bend further around the second big one. So here it comes here, and the smaller one there, not so bad. So that's why they have one big one down the bottom as your tension pulley and one small one for your guide pulley. So going back to our chain, less chain articulation or movement or bending of your chain. It's articulation, fancy word for saying bending. So when you go in a straighter line around the big jockey wheel and then around the smaller one, less bending, so less movement of your chain. Of course, with each link moving a little bit, there's a teeny bit of friction. And with so many links going through all the time, about 114, 113 links every time the chain goes around again. So you're looking at a lot of links bending all at the same time. So any little bit of chain articulation is friction, and any more articulation than is necessary is unnecessary friction or unnecessary loss of your power. So that's the whole idea. Have a larger curve, less friction, less loss of your power. And it's not just a loss of power. Because of the gentler curve it goes around, the chain is actually going to be quieter as it goes through its articulations through your rear derailleur. So you'll end up with less friction and a quieter drivetrain. So now we know why we have a gigantic tension pulley and a smaller guide pulley on a jockey wheel cage. Now there's one more advantage this jockey wheel cage has up its sleeve, and that is this. Ceramic bearings enabling the jockey wheels to spin around and around and around and around and around. You get the conventional one off your old derailleur, spin it, and what happens? It stops after not much time. In fact, these spin quite well. Some are even worse. So the key here is ceramic bearings, both the top one and the bottom one. Well, you notice the bottom one doesn't spin as well as the top one. And just because a jockey wheel spins really nicely on its own doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do so under load. Might present a little bit more friction than just being on its own. And the lower jockey wheel obviously has a gigantic hole in the middle there, so it has a large inner race as well as a large outer race, and lots of ball bearings around there. Of course, that's ceramic inner and outer race, and the ball bearings are ceramic as well. So it probably doesn't spin as well because it's such a large bearing race, lots of bearings having to go around there. Now the purpose of this big hole, well, I would say it's not for aerodynamics, because there's a lot of these jockey wheels out with fairings over them to cover that up for aerodynamics. So I don't think the purpose is aerodynamics, it's most probably just for looks. It looks very interesting. It's from outer space. Now, just because the front and back cages are made of carbon fibre doesn't mean it's necessarily strong in all directions. But if you try and bend, there's a little bit of bend in there. I don't want to snap anything. Twisting wise, no, that's way strong enough, no problem at all. Something not noticeable unless someone points it out to you is the teeth on the tension pulley are for a wide, narrow setup. So every second tooth has a slight widening on it, slightly broader, so it sits into the outer part of the chain. The widest, as your links go wide, narrow, then that sits on the wide tooth, the wide part of the chain, and the narrow part of the chain sits on the narrow part of the teeth. That's a mouthful to say, but nevertheless, it's all that basically means is it helps the chain stay on that jockey wheel in position. Let's loosen a few screws and have a look. So these are Torx head screws, not Allen's. But the guide pulley is an Allen key, 3mm. So lifting the back of the cage off, and this is full carbon fibre. An edge view shows us about 8 layers of carbon fibre sheeting here. You can even see some of the layers in the countersunk holes for the bolt heads. 2 seating washers, they sort of act like dust covers. Most sealed bearing jockey wheels on the market have this sort of arrangement. Ceramic sealed bearing has ceramic balls as well as ceramic inner and outer races. The outside cage is made of compound carbon fibre, so not in layers. Aesthetically, it may be a little bit more pleasing. And then this multicolour light reflecting sticker or decal, it's very well put on. You're not going to be able to scratch that off very easy. Having a look at this top jockey wheel bearing. The seal is a very soft, thin plastic, and it's attached to the outer race. So when the bearing spins, the seal spins as well, while the inner race attached to the bolt remains stationary. So put a very fine hook in the gap at the inside of the race to remove the seal. And there's your ceramic bearings as well as ceramic inner and outer races. And as you can see, there's pretty much no grease in this race. It's probably a light oil. And this is why they spin so well. Having a close look at the ball bearings there, they're nice and pearly white, zirconium dioxide. Now over to the big 18-tooth tension pulley. We can remove an outer clip. That's not a bearing seal, it's just a clip. And then you try and remove the jockey wheel itself, the whole thing, and it doesn't come off the cage. So it's pressed on there, not to be removed. This bearing does have a similar soft seal. Put a hook under the inside of the race, remove it gently. And underneath that is another cover, and try as hard as I couldn't remove it. I'm not going to break it. Anyway, having a closer look, you can see the ball bearings are white, so they're also zirconium dioxide. Time to put it all back together now. All we have to do now is put this on a bike, and it's going on here. The Wheeltop TX rear derailleur. Let's have a sound check. Got the microphone here. So that's the original derailleur cage. To put this oversized pulley wheel system on is actually quite simple, especially since the derailleurs are wireless. Remove the cage swing stopper screw, 3mm Allen key, then allow the spring to unwind the cage. Underneath the body of the derailleur is another screw head. Undo that with a 1.5mm Allen key, and it's a pin. It holds the jockey wheel cage to the derailleur body. So remove that, and then the jockey wheel cage will separate from the derailleur body. Well, we've got both jockey wheel cages off. Let's weigh them. And we've got 105 for the oversized pulley wheel, and for the original 74 grams. So the original is actually lighter by 31 grams. Right, let's put this oversized pulley wheel system on the derailleur. Generous amount of grease on the pivot bolt, and it just goes straight in the same as the original came out. There's 2 holes in the jockey wheel cage. Line the spring up with one of them. I'm putting a spring in the hole at the back, so that means it's a smaller amount of tension. Reinstall the holding pin and tension it up. Remove the swing stopper screw. Swing that cage around forward and reinstall the stopper screw. Now we can put the derailleur back on the hanger. Now, because this tension pulley is 6 teeth bigger than the previous tension pulley, then we need to add some more chain. Half a link for each tooth, so that's 3 complete links. These are brand new offcuts from the same chain, so you can add them if your chain is less than 0.5% worn. Chain back on the bike, check all the gears. Perfect. And time to hit the road. It's cold this morning. I can only use the camera if I take my gloves off, or one glove. Anyway, it's going fine. Hey! Is it shining in the light?
It's a real carnival now.
Yeah, it's a real car.
Vegas. That. They're making me go faster. I'm trying to keep up.
Well,
coffee. Yeah.
I want to buy the coffee. So we know this Wheeltop oversized pulley system will fit the Wheeltop Road TX rear derailleur, but will it fit the most popular derailleurs around? Ultegra 105 Endurace. Here's a Shimano Ultegra mechanical, and we've also got Shimano Ultegra Di2. Both of these derailleurs have been in accidents, so we can irresponsibly pull them apart and mess around with them. Both are Ultegra 11 speed, one is mechanical and one is Di2. So I'll take off the cage swivel stopper, pull out the holding pin, and the cage slides apart from the body. Looking at the cage pivot bolts, they look very, very similar. So let's try and put the oversized pulley wheel cage on this mechanical Ultegra derailleur body. Seems to fit quite nicely. Put in the holding pin, and it doesn't go in all the way. Seems to fit through there, seems to be the right size. That's perfect, that's exactly like the Shimano pivot pin, but it just doesn't seem to want to go in. Let's try the Di2 rear derailleur. Maybe the pivot bolt is a little bit different. So it is a bit different than the mechanical. It's also a bit different than the oversized pulley wheel. So let's try the oversized pulley wheel onto the Di2 body. Yes, it fits in, but no, the pin doesn't want to go in here either. Taking these pivot bolts off of both the derailleurs and having a real close look, we can see there is a difference. The Shimano one is more squared off, whereas the Wheeltop one is sort of rounded underneath. It was so close I was determined. So, spending the next 3.5 hours measuring, filing, grinding and sanding, I got the holding bolt to finally fit the oversized pulley wheel system to both the Di2 and the mechanical Shimano derailleurs, although the stopper screw was also in a slightly different placement than the genuine Shimano cage. So what do we think of this oversized pulley wheel system? Is it faster? Is it faster? Is it faster? I didn't notice it. One thing I did notice is it is ever so slightly smoother with the gear changing. That's about it. Not faster or slower, just a little bit smoother. As for being quieter, I don't know. Let's do a sound check. I'd say it's very close to the same. Might be a fraction quieter, just a fraction. Okay, how about changing gear? Look on it. I don't think it's any better or any worse, but the same. Having to add 3 extra links to your chain because the jockey wheel was so large, that can be awkward for a lot of people because you're not tech savvy, and using the chain pin tool, especially on Shimano chains and that, and you don't quite get it right, you can end up with a link that's stiff most of the time, or you don't get it quite right in the plate on the opposite side and you'll end up breaking your chain at that point. Not a good idea. So your best bet, if you're not sure, is use a brand new chain, and if you do that you might need a brand new cassette as well. Hopefully if your chain is under 0.5% wear, you'll be able to put a brand new chain on. Just break off the extra links that you don't need. Make sure you got the extra 3 on there so it's long enough to go around the large jockey wheel around your whole drivetrain, and then you'll be right. This chain's a Connex chain, so adding the 3 links isn't too bad. However, if you're still not sure, then go for a brand new chain and cut the links. So how much power are you going to save with this oversized pulley wheel system? Well, you've got less articulation, a little bit of power saving there. Ceramic bearings in both the top and the bottom bearings, that's a little bit of saving there. And if you can put the spring in the hole further back so that it's less tension on the jockey wheel cage here, that's a little bit more power saving as well. Mind you, if you go on rougher terrain and you've got that less tension here, you're going to get more chain slap here on your chain stay. Maybe not such a good idea. Up to you. Anyway, the most you're going to save out of all that, if you do all that, I've got it written down, 1.63 watts. That's all you're going to save if you have all those things together. Mind you, with a bigger jockey wheel, it's less aerodynamic than the original jockey wheel, so maybe you have to take half a watt off for that. So now you're down to just over 1 watt saving. Aesthetics, and this can be important because number one, the placebo effect. Yep, that's right, the placebo effect is real. If you think it looks good and it looks cool and impresses others and it makes you ride more and ride a bit faster on your bike, then hey, mission accomplished. One thing I like about it aesthetically is I only saw it when I was looking at the video playback of riding it. This part here, the jockey wheel, looks like it's not moving. So it looks like your chain is just floating over this derailleur rather than mechanically turning. So, because you don't see it, you don't see that jockey wheel turning. The other thing is this little laser effect sticker. Yeah, it's quite interesting, quite nice if you like that sort of thing as well. As for bang for your buck, I think the oversized jockey wheel system would be down the list. More important would be getting a decent set of tyres, maybe some TPU tubes, waxing your chain, getting some deep section rims which match your tyre and getting that right for aerodynamics. So I think, yeah, you can do better. However, if you've done those things already, hey, why not? Now, unfortunately, this oversized pulley wheel system is only meant to fit the Wheeltop TX road rear derailleur. So, as you saw in the video, unfortunately, too much fuss to get it to fit the Shimano rear derailleur. You could probably get it working, but I wouldn't recommend it. So, this particular oversized pulley wheel system, only for the Wheeltop system. But if you really want an oversized pulley wheel system and you've got Shimano or SRAM, I'm sure you'll find something on the market out there, even on AliExpress, to fit your rear derailleur. So if you're running the Wheeltop TX rear derailleur and you want to make it a little bit more bling, you've got to spare €139 or $159 US, then go ahead and treat yourself. Slowest I've ever ridden up Wollonga Hill. There are thousands of cyclists here. So, can't do anything about it. About 10-11 k's an hour. Great place for catching up with people, cyclists, good bike spotting, wax chain spotting. Yeah.
Beauty, mate.
1975.
Yeah. Oh, you're right, mate. Back there. It does. Cyclist, that's all right.
If it doesn't turn you on, you're obviously not over 50. I love the shiny wheels, the shiny hubs, back to silver spokes.
It's beautiful. It rides as good as it looks.
1972 Jatan?
1975 Jatan.
1975 Jatan.
Super champion.
Car back. So here's the guy who waxes his chain and he's got a green chain. So if you're worried about losing the colour of your chain, you won't when you wax your chain. I'll show you.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, but yeah, it's nice. Rainbow one. It's a surround red chain. Yeah.
So it's a rainbow tram red flat top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flat top rainbow.